Hi, Suzanne. I'm here to read to you from the handout we started working with earlier this week called Continuous Cities by Italo Calvino. And I went out onto Google to find out where this excerpt that I have a copy of came from, and it came from his book called Invisible Cities. And you see that in chapter 7, this section that we have a copy of called Continuous Cities is located in chapter 7. And when I scrolled through this free version of the book where this excerpt came from, it only goes to like page 23, so we can't scroll all the way down to page 114. But I thought I would just leave this as the backdrop so you can see the author. His last name, Italo Calvino, is over here. And if you ever wanted to check out the fuller book, which I'm kind of interested in doing now that I know where this excerpt came from, you definitely can. Don't buy it. Go to the library and see if you can find Invisible Cities. All right, so I'm going to read it so you can help yourself by listening to my voice, read it and practice with pronunciation. So, Continuous Cities by Italo Calvino. The city of Leonia refashions itself every day. Every morning the people wake between fresh sheets, wash with just unwrapped cakes of soap, wear brand new clothing, take from the latest model refrigerator still unopened tins, listening to the last-minute jingles from the most up-to-date radio. On the sidewalks, encased in spotless plastic bags, the remains of yesterday's Leonia await the garbage truck. Not only squeezed tubes of toothpaste, blown-out light bulbs, newspapers, containers, wrappings, but also boilers, encyclopedias, pianos, porcelain dinner services. It is not so much by the things that each day are manufactured, sold, bought that you can measure Leonia's opulence, but rather by the things that each day are thrown out to make room for the new. So you begin to wonder if Leonia's true passion is really, as they say, the enjoyment of new and different things, and not instead the joy of expelling, discarding, cleansing itself of a recurrent impurity. The fact is that street cleaners are welcomed like angels, and their task of removing the residue of yesterday's existence is surrounded by a respectful silence, like a ritual that inspires devotion, perhaps only because once things have been cast off, nobody wants to have to think about them further. Nobody wonders where, each day, they carry their load of refuse. Outside the city, surely, but each year the city expands and the street cleaners have to fall farther back. The bulk of the outflow increases and the piles rise higher, become stratified, extend over a wider perimeter. Besides, the more Leonia's talent for making new materials excels, the more the rubbish improves in quality, resists time, the elements, fermentations, combustions. A fortress of indestructible leftovers surrounds Leonia, dominating it on every side like a chain of mountains. This is the result. The more Leonia expels goods, the more it accumulates them. The scales of its past are soldered into a cuirass that cannot be, turning it over, cannot be removed. As the city is renewed each day, it preserves all of itself in its only definitive form. Yesterday's sweepings piled up on the sweepings of the day before yesterday and of all its days and years and decades. Leonia's rubbish, little by little, would invade the world if, from beyond the final crest of its boundless rubbish heap, the street cleaners of other cities were not pressing, also pushing mountains of refuse in front of themselves. Perhaps the whole world, beyond Leonia's boundaries, is covered by craters of rubbish, each surrounding metropolis in constant eruption. The boundaries between the alien, hostile cities are infected ramparts, where the detritus of both support each other, overlap, mingle. The greater its height grows, the more the danger of a landslide looms. A tin can, an old tire, an unraveled wine flask, if it rolls toward Leonia, is enough to bring with it an avalanche of unmated shoes, calendars of bygone years, withered flowers, submerging the city in its own past, which it had tried in vain to reject, mingling with the past of the neighboring cities, finally cleaned. A cataclysm will flatten the sordid mountain range, canceling every trace of the metropolis, always dressed in new clothes. In the nearby cities, they are all ready, waiting with bulldozers to flatten the terrain, to push into the new territory, expand, and drive the new street cleaners still farther out.